All right, we're live. Three, two, one. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Owner Ops Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray. I have Jacob Neffendorf from Rise Land Clearing Growth. That's kind of a mouthful to
It
say
is.
right there. Rise Land Clearing Growth. Hey, welcome back. In this episode, we are going to talk about how to price land clearing jobs. You've said in one of your videos before that is one of the most that you get from either your clients or potential clients or land clearing operators in general. So we're going to go through a pricing calculator. Listeners, if you stick around for the whole thing here, Jacob's going to share a screen. He's put together a tool that can help land clearing operators price. He also has access to industry data across the board. So we're going to talk about some industry averages for per day price versus project-based pricing. And also, I'll share my thoughts on which one we use, which one I think is better. Jacob's going to share some of his thoughts on per day pricing versus project-based pricing. And then if we have time, we're going to get into a bonus that Jacob has prepared for us where he has been diving deep into the land clearing market as a whole. Jacob, do you mind to share more about that bonus?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm calling it the land clearing potential document, basically covering typical production capacity per crew, revenue per acre, revenue capacity range based on that. What can you actually handle? How to look at profitability, the lens to look at profitability through, and how that differs from owner operator to having multiple crews.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we start with pricing? Let's talk about the main question here. Hey, Jacob, I'm a land clearing operator. How do I price my jobs?
Great question. If anybody ever gives you a straight answer, run away. You cannot just spit out a shelf price for land clearing. Way too many variables, including what service you're actually offering, your area, terrain, tree size, density, slope, what exactly they're needing done. Do they have to build on it? Do they just want it opened up to look at it? Do they need to use it for a certain purpose? The list goes on. What machines do you have? How efficient are you? How many machines do you have? All these factors come into play.
Your best operators, do you see them pricing per day or per project?
This is a hard one I have to answer honestly. From what I can see, pricing by the project benefits you and the customer the most. I do have a handful of highly successful guys that still price by the day. Where I see pricing by the day work well is large projects where you can't necessarily nail down the full scope. And it's a lot of times like thousands and thousands of acre ranches or giant property development. And it's like, hey, here's kind of our end goal. Can't really put it down on paper. We want you to go out there. Our budget's 100,000. They're charging 3 grand a day. Do $100,000 worth of work. You know, that's where I see the day rate work. Um, but in terms of residential, even commercial, on the medium side, pricing by the project gives the customer a more clear idea of what you have going on and allows you to not be capped by a day rate. And then because some guys will even do a day rate and not give somebody a total job price. They're just like, well, it just depends on how many days it takes me. And I feel like that's a little can make a customer a little nervous because they're like, well, what if it takes X amount of days? And then it also opens up the whole conversation most people want to avoid is like, well, what is a day? If you say, I'm going to sell you 8 hours of mulching, but then you spend some of that time fueling up and some of that time, sharpening knives or blowing out your machine or, You open yourself up to that conversation when you tell somebody, "Oh, I'm gonna come in and do a day's work for 2,500," and you finish the job and you do a good job in 4 hours, you're gonna make some people upset, uh, versus if you just told them, "Hey, to do the job, it's this much. Here's what the outcome's gonna be." You avoid that conversation.
From my experience, it's also a pain whenever you quote by the day and you finish early. The reason I hate per day pricing is because as an operator, it gives you no room to capture more profit based on efficiency. Business and every business owner, at least it is mine, is like the game is let's go estimate this job at what we know we can come in at. And then if we push as a crew and work together as a team to be efficient on this job, and if we all do our jobs correctly, and if things go right, there's a chance that we could increase the profit margin on this job based on the reward of putting in our effort and our operational chops together. And so the reason I don't like per day pricing personally is because it doesn't give you the incentive as an operator to go push yourself to become better as a
Yep.
team. The second reason I don't like it is because, if it's like, all right, if you send two guys out to a job, two operators, and you immediately thinks that they have you for that 8-hour day, and they immediately feel totally entitled to be able to say, well, since you should just start chopping firewood for me. And it's like,
Yep.
we came to operate machinery. Because we finished early doesn't mean that we're going to turn into general laborers here that you can just have us fix your plumbing leaks for you, right? But for whatever reason, in my experience, customers have this in their head
Yeah,
because they feel like they've already paid you for 8 hours a day.
exactly.
So we switched to project-based pricing very early on. In a very, very small percentage of jobs, we will do a per day rate. And it usually comes down to what you just mentioned. Larger projects, we don't that we don't know exactly how long this is going to take. It may be areas that are just jackstrawed with timber all on top of it. It's like we'll do our best, but let's do a per day rate. So we have one customer who we do annual work for, and an HOA that we just have agreed to a day rate, and it's worked out fine for us. But that's the only scenario that we use it.
Right.
Um,
Great point.
my question for you here is the average that you see across the board for day rates for a skid steer and a mulcher.
2 grand. There's
Two
guys getting
grand.
2,500. There's guys as low as 1,500, which I pushed very hard to try to get them to charge more. Um, there's a good handful at that 1850, 1750, 1850 range. Good handful at like the 2250 range. Anybody over 2,500 is usually running a dedicated mulcher, or they're showing up with 2 machines, a skid steer next to a Mini X or something.
Now, big dedicated mulchers, Tiger Cats, Barcos, what do you see average per day rate there?
Pretty big range, 3 to 4, 3 to 4,000. Um, I know a lot of guys doing 3,500 plus mobilization. Um, I'd also know guys who will do 3,000. I don't know anybody who does less than that on those big machines, but I know there is some guys with a couple of them that will charge 1,000 an acre, which is kind of a different pricing model I've seen. Now, this is for mulching, like coming in and cleaning things up, not land clearing in the traditional sense. But they'll run that machine 1,000 an acre because he knows he can do 3 to 5 acres a day. So he can end up getting $3,000 to $5,000 a day.
Have you ever heard any of your clients talk about how if they do a per acre pricing that it's backfired on them?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the whole thing with doing an in-person estimate and having a scope of the project is like you say you can do per acre and then you run into something that you couldn't see. I mean, how many times have y'all been out there and you get into some thick stuff that, you couldn't have put eyes on and there's whatever surprise out there in the woods for you. Um, or, it's steeper or wetter or thicker, it's just I feel like there's too many variables. Where that gentleman does the 1,000 acres a day or 1,000 an acre, um, it's the same type of job. It's like he calls them cutover jobs, basically. But it's a very specific type of work that he does that for.
I'm guessing that that's underbrush mulching and not actually clearing larger vegetation.
Right. Well, it's like a good example is like they came in and cut down all the trees. um, like loggers or timber people. They came in and just dropped everything, and then they're going to come in and clean up all the other stuff, everything that's on the ground. They're not taking down big trees with that price.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. So if any of you have ever seen a logging site, oftentimes you'll come in, you'll see the stumps, and then you'll see the slash that was just left over from um, some of the production. And so what Jacob's mentioning there is that mulcher just comes in and is mulching up the small branches that are left over and likely the stumps as well. But I bet the Barcos and the Tiger Cats can run through stumps fairly quickly.
Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite things just to watch those things work. They're amazing.
I love it. I love it. Do you know off the top of your head how much those machines run?
500 grand. I think you can
Brand
you can
new.
get used ones like 2 to 300,000. They
Cool.
you may be able to get a good deal at 400 something, but when I talk to guys, yeah, it's usually 500,000 for those brand new.
Do you have feedback from Barco versus Tiger Cat?
Dude, there's a lot of opinions there. Um, I know guys with both. I think it's really opinion. When guys ask me about machines, I'm a little careful to just throw out my opinions quick because I've never actually owned one of those. But what I do hear a lot that matters the most in choosing your machine is how good the service is of the place who sold it to you or that could service it near you. That's a huge deciding factor. They all, have pros and cons, but I've had guys just swear by one or the other, and I don't see how you can do that when there's guys who've been running one or the other for a decade. Like they obviously work and work well, but I I'd be hesitant to give you a real opinion. I've been up close with the Barcos more. Um, I know of two giant companies in Texas that run 5+ Barcos and they have for 10 years. But I mean, I know there's guys been running Tiger Cats that long too. So um, I did see an interesting one recently of this guy up in I want to say Wisconsin is WC Site Development. He took he took ownership of the first Prenoth 550, I think it is. It's an enorm it looks like a tank. Um, and so that's a whole nother world of dedicated machines, but tracked. So, anyways, long story short, I would be hesitant to give you an opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm glad you answered that way. It's kind of like Dodge versus Ford versus Chevy. They're all going to perform, and every operator seems to have, be They're either a Dodge guy, they're a Ford guy, or whatever. And it's like, I personally, I don't care. I have zero preference. The main thing is that piece of equipment make us money? If it does,
Yep.
yes, check the box. I don't care what's on the side of it. To second what you said, this is ever present right now. I'm always hesitant to go down a negative rabbit hole about other brands, but what I will state is that what you said about dealer support is arguably the most important thing. Doesn't matter if you get a Cat, doesn't matter if you get a Bobcat, doesn't matter if you get into dedicated machines, Barco, Tiger Cat. Talk to the dealer and understand, is that dealer going to actually go to bat for you whenever that machine goes down? Because it's not if, it's when the machine goes down and will need repaired.
100%.
Case in point, right now we've got a large skid. It's a Bobcat, and I grew up running Bobcats. That's why I went with Bobcat. The sales rep is great. I'm friends with them. But this is the third summer in a row that when my machine goes down, that's under warranty, that they have not had a replacement machine for it, which was inside the agreement, my purchase agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, we just don't stock a tracked forestry machine in our dealership to replace it with. And so it's one of those battles as an operator where it's like, well, I could really go fight this, right? But is it really worth my time?
Yeah.
It's like, let's just focus on sales and marketing and go sell some more jobs and just deal with the backup that they give us for right now and just take note of what's going on, right? So moving forward, every machine I will buy, if there is that promise that a replacement will be provided as part of the warranty, I'm going to go to their rental fleet and I'm going to say, show me the machine that you have set up that you're going to bring me.
Yep.
And inexperience as an operator, right? Those are the learning lessons that you take in business and you get better moving forward. But I wanted to share that here on the podcast for any operators. If you're going to go buy a new machine, make sure you read the fine print and don't just take what the sales rep sells you on, because they'll sell you the dream and they'll promise you the world. But when shit hits the fan, it's like you really start to see what actually comes through.
100%.
So we're dealing with that right now. We got a 770 with no forestry package. It's got a glass window on it. It's like, there's a piece of me that's just like, I don't even, just focus on feeding the chipper this week until we get the 870 fix with the forestry machine. Right?
Yeah.
So it puts us in a bad situation. Now, I'm not going to sit here and complain. I'm not going to continue going down a negative route. And I'm also not going to bash a company. My point with this is that whether it's Bobcat, whether it's Cat, whether it's, Takeuchi, whatever you're doing, just figure out with the dealer, do they have a backup machine ready to go for you? And can they support you as an operator?
Yeah. 100%.
We said we were going to stay on pricing here. So you've got a pricing tool that you put together. You want to jump into that screen share that we talked about and go through this pricing tool?
For sure. Absolutely. So there's tons of ways to do this, and I'm not saying this is the only way. This is just a really cool tool that we've kind of found and built out. And if you want to play with it, are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, I am. We're
Awesome.
good.
If you want to play with it, you can go to riseonlineads.com/ this long pricing-guide-estimator-demo. I could copy this link, but I honestly didn't think about sending too many people here that way, so I probably should have made that a better URL, but I can send it to you as well.
Yeah, we'll just put that in the description afterwards.
But
so for anybody listening, I'll state it. It's /pricing-guide-estimator-demo.
There you go. This tool I have kept very generic, and it has extra wording. You would ideally neck this down to your core services. The reason I love this tool, though, in this way, is for your customers being able to go to your website and get an idea of pricing without you having to spend time. Because, there's always people who want to know about pricing who are maybe not ready right now, or maybe legitimately could not afford your service. And we spend a lot of time talking to those people as business owners. So this helps. And one thing we've realized is people really care about trust online, and most people want, I think it's like 78% of people prefer a self-service option, which I think COVID really did that to us once, they got kiosks everywhere and DoorDash and all this stuff. But here we are as business owners, we adapt to the market, right? And so what this does is it allows people to get pricing in a comprehensive way that's an estimate in a range, which is the big important part here, um, for your service without you ever having to talk to them. And it's been proven across about 100 different industries, service industries, uh, to increase leads by 3 times. Because what happens is a ton of people get to your website, they can't figure out how much it is, they don't want to call for whatever reason. Long story short, this tool helps with that. Now, like I said, I have a couple different options here. Let's just run down the forestry mulching. So they come, and obviously you'd want to have your pictures, not stock photos. Or you can choose no picture options. This super customizable tool, but I just have this kind of set up generic. So let's go forestry mulching. How many acres do you need mulched? And so on the back end, this is going to start doing calculations based on pricing parameters you have set, and you can have variable percentage or fixed costs that add to it. So let's just say they want 5 acres. What's the vegetation density like? Denser growth requires more time and heavier equipment. So you're also educating them along the way. And then you'll see the final estimate will educate them a little more. So let's just say, let's say heavy. What's your goal for this project? Improve property appearance, prep for construction, wildlife access, increase usable space, right? So all these things are going to kind of mean different things. And on the back end, you can have increases tied to this, or you can just use it for your information. Because what's nice is the customer is going to get all this information without ever talking to you, but you're then at the end going to get their answers to the questions, which is going to make you more prepared when you try to talk to them. So timeline, not urgent, just planning. I always like to have that one in. Really helps filter out people that you're looking to talk to. And then they just need to put in their info so that they can see it. So I'll just fill out my info here, see your estimate. And so that's going to get emailed to them, but then they also just immediately get to see it. So thank you for completing. You can customize all of this to say whatever you want, but here's the breakdown. So it's always going to give them a range. So the range here, 8,000 to 15,000. So base cost, obviously no one's base cost is going to be 500, I hope. But put whatever your base cost needs to be, you would put that in there. Then we're looking at 5 acres, and then heavily wooded. So it's adding in extra for the heavily wooded here. And all this you would customize yourself on the back end. These two obviously didn't add any cost. And then it has a full breakdown of how did we get to this cost? What do you get for your money? What's included? Where does your money go? Friendly heads up, this is an estimate. And then it kind of pushes them to, hey, when you want to get a firm number, if this is in your ballpark, if 8 to 15,000 is in your ballpark, go ahead, call us, schedule a time to go over this. Hopefully that did not take too long.
Awesome. I love it. My question for you, I'm an operator. I need to customize that specific to our fire mitigation work. For people listening to this, you guys know that we use land clearing machines. It's been the easiest way to describe it online or on X. But really what we do is forestry work. We are a forestry company who specializes in reducing wildfire risk. AKA, we go in, we clean up the forest. So Jacob's clients in Texas or Jacob's clients in the Midwest or the Southeast who are running dedicated mulchers, a skid steer and a mulcher, that tool is going to be set up really well as a baseline for people. For me, and if you're in the Western United States listening to this, and if you're a forestry company trying to go get some private fire mitigation jobs, here's how I'm going to use this. So my questions for Jacob, this is real time having a conversation with him. How do I access to that as an operator and then customize it to make it fit the services that we provide? Or is that something that you're offering on the website as for the tool?
Absolutely. It's fully customizable, which is my favorite thing about it. You can customize every step of the way. And for a service as detailed as yours, I think that that's even better because it gives you the opportunity to educate along the way there and change all of the verbiage to be pointed towards, what you do. And like in your case where you showcase work in the sales process, this is just going to help aid you in that. Um, but yeah, 100% it can be fully customized for that. Uh, the tool, I currently don't offer it outside of our services. For the right person, I might consider that, but it does take a lot of setup. Um, I say a lot. It it's a setup process. Like, it may take you and I an hour going through it together to get it right for your business. It's not just, I mean, unless you just want to take the template and turn it on, but it's not going to be beneficial for your business if it's not built out specific for you. Um, so yeah,
Fantastic. Well, lucky for me, I'm a paying client.
yes, 100%.
So this is where my head goes, and we can do one of two things here. We could either go straight tactical, and if you're listening and you want to chime in on comments, YouTube, you should be able to comment. If you're listening on live stream, X listeners, chime in on comments. We could go one of two routes here. We can go high level idea, where my head's going right now for how I'm going to leverage this and how I'm going to market the crap out of this to get more qualified leads. Or we could go tactical and we could go straight into setup mode for how I'm going to actually onboard with this and customize this. If anybody has any feedback, which route you want us to focus the time on, chime in. We've got another half hour here. And if you're saying we could do it in an hour, I would be optimistic enough to say that we could bust that out 30 minutes. But we can also stay high level with where my head is going for how I'm actually going to go market this with ads. So let's do this. If you have feedback or comments, if you'd prefer we get tactical and showcase how to customize this tool, then chime in with comments right now. Comment tactical. I'm going to focus this conversation and keep it high level right now because that will only. And then if we get enough comments, we'll go tactical. So
Sounds good.
I'm curious to know how. I have ideas here too. How do you recommend that clients implement this and go get leads using this tool?
Absolutely. I love that question. So one of two ways. I think you should have some kind of pricing estimator on your website, whether that's just a frequently asked question that says, hey, could range from here to here. But this is just a more comprehensive way to do that. But if somebody can't find pricing on your website to some degree, there is a 70 something, I can't remember the exact number, I don't want to lie. There's like a 70 something percent chance they will go with the person they can find that for. Um, which is pretty wild, but it's just where we've gone. Uh, so I would say you could use the tool in that way, have it on your website so that people can do things like that. In terms of marketing it, uh, like direct marketing, it can work really well. And the thing that I have used is Instant Estimate. I'm careful to use quote because to me, the verbiage of quote is like, hey, here's your quote. this is what it is. Versus estimates like, hey, this is an estimate. So I like instant estimate, and I have leveraged this before as like, hey, are you tired of going back and forth with salesmen, or do you prefer you kind of use that because it's going to play to those people who want that option. Like if anybody's ever run local service ads, which is like the Google guaranteed section, they they give an option to not be called. And 90% of the ones that I've seen, they always select that option because people just, there's this huge group of people who just don't want to talk to you yet. They may still very well want to hire you. They're personable, social people. They just don't want to spend their time talking to you yet. They want to learn more. They want to know more first. And so, what I like to do is leverage it is like, hey, if you're looking to have your property forestry mulch, or if you're looking to open up your property, or if you're looking to protect your property with fire mitigation, and you're wondering how much it costs, which is what everyone wants to know. That's going to be your most frequently asked question is how much does it cost? It's the most searched term for land clearing and forestry mulching across the US is cost to clear land, cost per acre, whatever. So if you just throw that out in front of them, dangle it what they already want. Like if you want to know how much this costs, I've actually created, and you kind of personalize, like I've created this instant estimate tool where you just plug in the information about your property, answer a few questions, and it will give you an instant estimate for free without ever having to talk to anybody. Just click here, check it out, figure out how much it is. Um, and this works across home builders, pools. Think about car shopping, right? Like how many times have you been vehicle shopping and when it says call for price, you're like, I'm not even going to look at that car. I'm just going to keep scrolling until I see the one that shows me the price. And that's very common. There's tons of data on this that if people can't find the price or at least like get a ballpark of the price, they'll most likely just drop it or they'll go to some other site where they can get it. That was sort of a long form answer, but
I love it. I love it. All right, we're about to go tactical, and I'm about to drop some sauce for you if you're an operator of a land clearing or forestry business. So, what Jacob just said, you just heard him. What was the most search term?
cost to clear land.
So, here's what you do build website pages that are optimized for cost to clear land, insert your area. Every single service area should have a page. Cost to clear land for Bend, Oregon. Cost to clear land for whatever your surrounding counties are. If you're in the Southeast, cost to clear land for Atlanta, Georgia. Cost to clear land for XYZ, right? Build all those pages on your website. Then, what I'm going to do here, and I'm sure this is exactly where Jacob and I will go with the exact Bear Claw account, is I'm going to run a Facebook ad that says, hey, XYZ landowners, have you considered fire mitigation on your property, but you're worried about, let me think about how I'm going to frame it. It's probably just going to be as straightforward as like, hey, XYZ landowners, do you want to get the cost? Do you want to understand the cost to perform fire mitigations to perform fire mitigation services on your land? I've built a free pricing estimator where you don't have to talk to anybody. You can just click the link right here and get an estimate for what it's going to take to clean up your property. And then I'm going to direct them back to a landing page. It's probably a page that we've created. They're going to click the form. And from a conversion perspective, I'm going to get them embedded in the process. Like immediately, let's get them a win quick. Hey, what are you looking to do on your property? And then I'm going to have to go back through that first screen to create some options, right? But I'm going to be like, thin your forest, clean up dead wood, remove dead wood, create defensible space. I'm going to get them to click first. I'm going to create a survey on Go High Level, and maybe not, depending on how you have it set it up. But what I'm going to do is
the front questions like a survey and push them in the right direction.
So actually, I'm curious to get your input on this. Should we get them embedded in the funnel first and then ask for name, phone, and email to collect the lead information, or should we ask for name, phone, and email first and then get them there? I
Yeah,
I
so
have
you
an
you
opinion
have
on this,
them
but I'm curious to hear you.
for sure. Yeah, you have them go through the process, put in the work, so they're invested, and then the last step for them to boom see the instant access is their information. Now you can meter that information however much you want. If you only want them to put in an email, you can do that. I prefer to just go ahead and get the full lead information, um, like name, email, phone number. You could even put address in there if you wanted. That will be a friction point that some people won't move through. But yeah, you throw that in there, it could be really, really good. And the thing that's cool is, say they put in all of this stuff. I've done this before when I'm looking at like when I was looking to build my shop or a house or vehicles, right? Like, oh, I'm thinking this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. And then the price comes out and it's like, holy cow, that's out of my budget. But when you're doing it on a custom thing like this, like if you have they come out to do an estimate, they tell you everything they want, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be 25 grand. They're like, oh, okay, I can't afford that. Thanks for your time, man. See you later. Versus with this, and I didn't actually show this on that form, but when they get to that last estimate page where it actually shows them the estimate, if it's 25 grand, they can just go in and edit. Like they wanted 5 acres. Well, hey, how about I just get like the 1 acre behind my house? So then they change it from 5 to 1 acre, and it drops their price down to, you know, 5 grand instead of 25 grand. And so they're kind of in control of that, and they can know where their budget is, and then they've made the choice. It's not you telling them it's 25 grand. It's like, oh, it's 25 grand because I selected these things. And so then they can edit it down to, you know, what can I get for my budget? Because a lot of times people won't necessarily tell you their budget in person, for whatever weird reason. There's a lot of people that will do that, but I've found that that is huge because I've just seen it. Long story short, seen it time and time again, where that is a huge benefit of them making the choice themselves and getting the number versus you just telling them the number. Um, and this is for all of these people online that are in this category. So you're just scooping up more. This isn't to like change. Like when people call you and they fill out your lead form, still go do the in-person estimate. Like, this isn't to change that part of your operation. This is to scoop up all of the people who didn't want to talk to you for whatever reason because they're just their behavior is that way. They didn't want to talk to you until they learned more or got information. So this adds to what you can scoop up in the market. It doesn't replace the way that you do things for the leads that come in on a daily basis.
Absolutely. My head's already going to like what you're talking about, the customization. We could do something really cool with like a redirect to a thank you page or embed a thank you video. I'm calling it a thank you video because that's normally like what this would be called. But we could embed a Loom video at that point where it's like, hey, just a quick reminder, this is an estimate based on what the options you selected here. If for whatever reason this is not within your budget, here's what you can do. You can go back through and just click right here to start the form over, and you can make changes throughout the pricing tool. And then so you could send them back through, and then you would be able to see who is really, really interested, because you'd get a double submission, or we could set it up to where you track all that in Go High
That's a really
Level.
good point. And the neat thing is that with this tool, the friction's not there. So if they want to edit it, they can edit it on that final screen, and it'll just change in real time. They don't have to go
Mm,
back through all of the questions, which is kind of nice. But yes, the video is amazing. I,
very
I
cool.
prefer to have a video on the page before they start and afterwards. But the video before is like just a quick, like, hey, here's how you use this. And I have an example of me using it. And it's just like, yeah, you just click through these buttons real quick, pop your information in, boom, it'll pop out the estimate for you. If you don't like what you see, you can kind of edit from there, like a 60-second video, Um, and another thing I'm testing right now, which has been working pretty well, is offering an offer for them to use it, because there's just something in the psychology of when you use it, you're just kind of getting a little closer to taking that step, and you're seeing how much it costs. So I've been testing a 20% off when you use the instant estimate tool. Now you can play
Interesting.
with these numbers. There's this weird line of the marketing game, right? Like when you go to Kohl's or Walmart or something, and it's like, this shirt's 20% off. And it's like, what does that really mean? Do what you need to do with your business numbers. I truly just do offer the 20% off, but do what you need to do with your numbers, protect your pricing, but it just incentivizes people to um use it and to get the numbers without me having to spend time. And that's actually one of the biggest complaints I hear from our clients, which kind of blows my mind sometimes, but they complain about having to talk to people and give pricing and do estimates. And I'm like, well, that's the only way your business makes money. I'm not sure. Like, if there was a business where you just sat back and people just paid you, let me know. But at some point,
Sign me
you
up.
got to do it. But this does help with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. Hey, get this coupon or get 10% off, 20%, whatever number you decide. There is psychology behind the discount. I was actually spying on Steve, if you're listening to this. This is because I respect you as a marketer, and you put out really good ads. And so I was spying on his Valley Christmas lights. Steve owns, I believe he started 2 different Christmas light businesses. He also runs Home Service Accelerator, where he, teaches Christmas light gutter cleaning, roof washing people how to run ads profitably.
Yeah.
And I've had him on the podcast a couple times, and he's a solid marketer. So I was looking at all his ads that he launched for Valley Christmas lights. For those of you who don't know, you can look at anybody's ads that they're running on Facebook. Just go to, I think it's like, just type in Facebook ad library, and then you can search for the business page name, and then you can go look at what ads that they're running. And so I had seen one of Steve's posts the other day, and he was posting about, or he posted some. He's really good at doing like a like hooks. Like, he does funny ads to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And so he had like jumped off this ladder onto one of his employees' backs or something like that. And then it was like a big fail. And so he posted about that. And I'm like, man, I wonder when looked at Facebook ad library. And I believe, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're listening to this, I won't say all, because I don't remember if it was 100%, but most of his ads had some sort of discount offer where it's like, get 10% right here. And so I think it's interesting to take note of. I've never ran an ad with a discount offer, but there are a lot of people in marketing who have tested that it does drive clicks.
I will tell you that the company that works with us that gets the most leads by a massive gap, their headline on every ad is 10% off. I won't tell you who, because they will be not very happy. They're pretty protective, but we've been running that for well over a year, and they get over 150 forestry mulching leads every month for a long time now. And they close. I just talked to them yesterday.
Crazy.
They closed 25%, and they're booked out through the winter.
That's as simple as what? Get 10% off land clearing, or get 10% off forestry
Yep.
mulching. That's the headline. And then does he state that in the ad creative?
Nope. It's Just in the copy.
No?
Yeah. Just in the copy and the headline.
Jeez. Very cool. Okay, Daniel chimed in. What CRM do you use for land clearing, and does that work for other services like trees, etc.? Both Jacob and I use Go High Level. From my end, I've customized it to fit our needs, and it actually integrates with Jobber. A lot of people ask me this question, so I'm glad you asked. People have been asking like, oh, does Go High Level replace Jobber? And my answer is no, absolutely not, because Jobber is a field service management app, and it's designed very well to handle that for you as an operator. So what we like Jobber for is everything from the quote to collecting the invoice and everything in between. So when I quote, it's in Jobber. When we schedule jobs, it's in Jobber. When we send invoices, it's in Jobber. When we collect payments, it's in Jobber. And the reason being is because we can add all of our employees on Jobber. They get a very seamless, user-friendly mobile app. Jobber's been in the game for a long time, and it's easy for blue-collar guys who may not be as tech-savvy to use. Yep. Everybody clock in with Jobber and time for each job. That way, we can job cost so that we know our profit on each job, all within Jobber. Now, what Jobber lacks, and I had a conversation with their product team this last week, is like, I'm using Go High Level because you guys don't have any sales or automation tools, like field service app, but zero sales and marketing automation. And in this day and age, if you're not using sales and marketing automation, quite frankly, you're behind. So
yep.
Go High Level is the 500-pound gorilla for sales and marketing automation. You can do anything and everything with that app. And so what we use it for is when, and I know I can speak for Jacob as well, he coaches all his clients on this. We have automation set up to where when a lead fills out a Facebook form or a landing page form or a website form, you get notified as the operator or as the sales rep. We both send, and I can speak for Jacob too, because I know he does this, but like our system sends a text message with the name, with the email, with the phone number, with details about the project. Why? And we can go into this right now. What is the most important thing that you can do as an operator? Like if you change anything, or if you focus your area and effort on anything, what is the one thing that can move the needle?
Speed to lead.
I know you and I agree. Speed to lead, which means calling your leads as fast as humanly possible. If you're not getting the answer, whoa, that was fast, from your customer on the other end, then you're too slow.
Yep. Get
better. It's as simple as that. If you want to close more deals, call your leads faster. It really boils down to that.
So simple. 100%.
And if you don't have automation set up, you're behind.
Yeah.
So I know Jacob and I agree on this. Go High Level. Everybody in home servers should be using it. Everybody's got their own white labeled version. We do at Owner Ops. Jacob uses it inside Rise. Doesn't matter who you use, just use it. Yeah. Just get someone to help you set it up.
I will say I also use Jobber in another business. And yeah, the things you mentioned that it's great for. And he asked the question about tree service. I think Jobber is definitely going to shine a little more in tree service too, because of the routing features and the time all that tracking, job tracking, time tracking, the usability on the business that we use it for. We've got iPads mounted in the trucks, and Jobber works really well for that. And with tree service, you're usually doing more jobs a day than land clearing, so it's definitely going to shine there. And yeah, the interface is very user friendly, but I agree. It's limited on some of the back end stuff versus high level, but it's definitely user friendly on that day-to-day stuff, big time.
The good news is you can connect both tools with Zapier.
Yep.
And so that's what we do inside, and this will be a shameless plug here, inside the Owner Ops school community. Like that's what I'm teaching people on, is like, hey, we've set up Go High Level because you need a sales and marketing tool. It does not replace Jobber, and it should not, because Go High Level, in my opinion, sucks from the time of like for quoting and estimating all that stuff. Jobber is way better suited. It's way more user friendly for your blue collar guys who are working in the field. And to your point, things like snow plowing, things like tree service, where you have multiple jobs and have to build routes, It's incredible, the technology that they have there, and it's easy to use for people. So I recommend, whether you're using Jobber, whether you're using Housecall Pro, whatever it is, use a software that's built and designed for your field service and get your team on that. And then you as the owner and your sales team should be using, I haven't found anything better than Go High Level at this point. And those automations should be set up. So I know you're big on this too. It's like lead comes in, they need to know what the next steps are. So we send a text and an email immediately where it's like, hey, this is Austin with Bear Claw. Got your form submission. We'll be calling here shortly. We're not pushing anything on them immediately. We're just letting them know what to expect. Then if they don't answer, we move them into a no contact made nurture sequence. So that immediately, when our sales rep moves them over, they get a text and an email that said, hey, I tried to call you because we did, and they didn't answer. Here's my cell phone. Just give me a call at your convenience. Would love to discuss your project with you. Then we send texts and emails for the next 4 days that were basically just designed for us to get them on the phone. Because the next step in the sales process is get the lead on the phone. Then the ideal thing to do is book the site visit. And to your point earlier about what we were talking about before we recorded, the people who do those basic blocking and tackling skills are the people who are performing best.
Yep. 72-hour booking machine. Shameless plug there. I have it mapped out in a document. If you want it, I can send it. 72-hour booking machine. That's the money right there.
So you don't even have to do a shameless plug. Jacob has just launched a school group specifically for land clearing operators. I'm jumping in there. He's doing Q&A. I'm telling you guys, Jacob has access to a ton of information and data. Industry land clearing operator, you're going to want to have access to. He's doing a free school group. That's school.com/land-clearing-growth, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's going to be publishing things like 72-hour booking machine in there, free resources for you as a land clearing operator. He's hosting Q&A each week. Tell us about the 72-hour booking machine, though.
For sure. I'll just add on that tonight at 6 p.m., I'm doing our first live training that's going to be how to get more land clearing jobs. And it's not going to be any fluff. It's literally just going to be tons of screenshots and actionable things that you could use today to get more land clearing jobs with downloadable content, QR codes, scripts, templates, totally free, 6 p.m. tonight. Check it out. It's literally just me giving away free value. 72-hour booking machine. I have it written down all in this beautifully flowed document, but basically it just has written out the cadence from the second somebody reaches out, which is what we would call a lead, what you do, and the whole goal. And I've gotten this from not only all of our client data and the guys who are closing the most jobs, making the most money, but I matched that back with broader service industry data. And the world we live in, the quicker and the more you can keep the momentum of someone's interest going, the better. And so the goal is to have them an estimate delivered in 72 hours, ideally in person for qualified people. I would always qualify BANT, budget, authority, need, and timing on the phone before going to see them in person, just so you don't waste your time, fuel. But for those that are qualified, it needs to be in person, and you want to talk to them within 5 minutes. Bonus points for under 60 seconds. That's double dialing, text, and email. If you're not doing those things in the first 5 minutes, you are guaranteed losing money and wasting money if you're advertising. Then you need to have a cadence of follow-up after that, which I have mapped out. So it needs to be the evening of the same day that they came in, then the next morning, the next evening. And obviously this is only if they haven't answered. But we found that it takes an average of 6.78 touch points to get a hold of people. Meaning some people it may take more, Some people it's going to be less. But people are busy. They fill it out when they're on the toilet. They fill it out when they're in bed. They want your service. They want to know more, but they may not want to talk right now. And that's okay. Um, and I have to coach guys on this all the time, but I deal with it more than any of our clients. We get 1,200 leads a month, and very legitimate guys fill out the form and are just not able to talk yet. And we just have to keep it rolling, keep the momentum rolling until they are ready. Your customer deserves for you to follow up with them. They want to talk to you, but they have lives and family, and they may have just wanted to fill out your form so that they didn't lose you, but they may not be willing or able or ready to talk today, maybe not even tomorrow. Don't give up on them. Don't get frustrated. Build systems that protects your time to make it happen.
That's great. It's a great reminder for all of us here. So if you don't have a follow-up system built, I would highly encourage you to build that follow-up system. Go high level. For any of you who are watching this, who haven't used it, you can go get it for $97 a month. Okay. Access to the software is not expensive. Building the system is what takes time. I've spent hundreds of hours building our system. All right. And we do have an opportunity to, we're offering custom build outs for people here. So if that is something you're interested, you can go find more about that. Just jump in the free school group. It's the easiest way to do it. We can send you more information. School.com/ownerops. And then we need to wrap this up here at the top of the hour. Jacob also, as part of his services, provides access to his Go High Level as well. So once again, I don't care whose you use. I don't care if you go get it on your own and build out your own. My encouragement for you guys is to take what Jacob just said and take speed to lead very seriously. And the way that you do that is you implement a system like Go High Level and you build those automations in. Jacob, anything else you want to share with listeners before we wrap this up?
No, I love what you said. That's a great thing to leave on. It's just take speed to lead serious and you will not regret it.
Absolutely. Okay. Listeners, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Owner Ops Podcast. We're enjoying doing these live streams. Jacob, thanks for joining. We publish these every week on the podcast, and Jacob and I are recording every other week about land clearing specifically. So feel free to join us on YouTube or X. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, work hard, do your best, never settle for less.